5 traits of sales masters, how to be great at selling. In this video, you're going to learn the 5 traits of the world's top performing salespeople. I'm also going to share how you can test if you have some of these sales traits completely free at the end of this video. Hi, I'm Will Barron, founder of salesman.org, where in just 15 minutes, we'll tell you your selling flaws and give you a personalized training plan so you can fix them. Now, if you're a fan of the salesman.org YouTube channel or the podcast, you'll know that we create sales success training content based around different specific traits of sales success. But today, specifically in this video, I'm going to give you an overview of 5 specific traits that all high-level sales professionals possess so that you can start to implement them into your sales game as well. The first trait of high-performing sales professionals is to avoid being a people pleaser. And I define a people pleaser as being someone who will please others at the expense of their own needs. And whilst the act of people pleasing might on the surface seem like a positive trait to have for sales professionals, it isn't. B2B sales is all about giving value and then taking value. People pleasers, using this definition, tend to give in abundance and expect and hope and pray that the prospect is going to respond in kind. And when, of course, they don't, the people pleaser becomes passive aggressive towards them, killing any chance of a deal getting done rather than being assertive and getting deals done. Think of it this way. When an extremely high-level deal maker like Warren Buffett walks into a room, do you think he shows the people-pleasing behaviors of constantly agreeing with other people, feeling personally responsible for how other people feel about them, having an inability to say no, feeling uncomfortable if someone is angry in your presence, and changing your own behavior to make others feel more comfortable? Of course, he doesn't do any of that stuff. Warren Buffett walks into a room, he is his authentic self. He gets the deal done, and he doesn't exhibit any of these people-pleasing behaviors. And so you should knock this negative trait out of yourself as well. Next up, high-performing sales professionals aggressively qualify and disqualify their prospects. Successful salespeople, successful people in general, well, they lack time. They're busy, and so they don't allow themselves to waste their time, which they can never get back, on unqualified prospects. So when talking to your potential customers, ask questions that judge whether they're a good fit for you or not. A simple qualification process that you can use follows the acronym of BANT, B-A-N-T. So first up, we have budget, then we have authority, then does the prospect have a need for our product or service, and finally T, time. Are they going to friggin' buy before we're too old to do anything with the commissions that we're going to earn from the deal? When you uncover whether a prospect is qualified by asking the following questions that we're going to run through to dive into these in a little bit more detail, you immediately reduce the risk of wasting time with prospects who like talking but will never spend any money with you. So a few questions that you can ask to qualify a potential customer using this framework. So for the budget element, you can ask a prospect, is this deal, is this process, is this product important enough of a priority for you to allocate funds towards? Next up, for the authority side of things, you can ask, who else would be involved in this purchasing decision? For the need elements, we could ask, what do you think could solve this problem, and why would that solve your pain point? And finally, for the time elements, we could ask a potential customer to qualify them, how quickly do you need to solve this problem? The world's top sales professionals, with trait number 2, they qualify quickly and aggressively at the top of the sales cycle, at the top of the sales process, and that's one of the reasons why they have so much success. Talking about BANT, B-A-N-T, we've also got an in-depth video which focuses on sales qualification coming up soon, so make sure you click that subscribe button so you don't miss out on it. Next, thirdly, the sales elite plan ahead. Because very rarely, I don't know if you've ever experienced this, but I know I haven't. I've never walked into a sales pitch, blagged it with no preparation, and had success. That would be like walking out into a thunderstorm with the expectation that you're not going to get wet, or running up and punching a gorilla right in the nose and assuming it's not going to pin you down and then eat your face off. Successful salespeople take time to prepare what they're going to say to their prospects before they meet them. Because if a client senses that you're just making stuff up on the spot, they're going to see you as being a lazy bugger. And they're going to reject you faster than when I got rejected asking Sarah to the high school dance when I was 12. Damn it, Sarah. That was my first bit of rejection in life. Now, taking time to plan your selling communications not only makes you look better, it also takes away a lot of this sales stress that the average salesperson has, the stress that they live in day to day. Next up, trait number 4 is always be advancing. So crazy successful salespeople have the trait of always believing and having this rhetoric bouncing around their head of always be advance. Always be advancing. So don't settle for the classic, thanks, I'll call you next week with an update, brush off or objection when pitching a prospect. They're politely just telling you to go away, come back another day. They are giving you this brush off because they've not understood the value of what you're offering, and we're going to cover this in a second, or that the pain that your product eliminates just isn't a priority for them right now. This means that, and going back to trait number 2 here, if you've already aggressively qualified the prospect and they're a good candidate for your product, then top sales professionals will always get a follow-up meeting booked in. They are always advancing the sale. They are keeping control of the engagement. Because if you allow the prospect to take control of the next contact point when they say, hey, I'll give you a call next week, or send me the details over an email and I'll get back to you, then they become I'm not sure what's happening with this one, boss, deal in your CRM. This is what you say to your sales manager when you do a pipeline review, because you have no idea whether the deal is going to close or not, because you're not in control of the sale. When you are always advancing, you're setting the appointments, you're setting the meetings, and you are back in control. So the 4th trait of the world's most elite sales professionals is that they always advance the deal. If they can't advance it, they consider it a lost cause and they dump it, so they can then focus on the prospects that they can move through the sales cycle, add value to, and get a deal done with. Finally, the world's top sales professionals have the trait of pitching value, not price. So let me show you how the world's top sales professionals define value, price, and cost, which will make this point easier to explain. So first up, we have price, and this is what that's what you pay. Next up, we have the cost. So this is the money to produce. This is the money to produce a product. And finally, we have value. This is what most average sales professionals get wrong. This is a percentage of the revenue that is generated for the buyer. And so with that said, in these definitions, the price of a product is made up of the following formula. We have price equals cost plus, again, the percentage of rev and you. This is crazy important to understand. So what we have here on the screen, we've got the price, we've got the cost, which is the hard production costs of development and staffing and time in R&D, whatever it is. Then we have the value, which is a percentage of revenue. It's a percentage of the income that's being generated. So for example, if my product generates 50% more prospect for the profit, and I take 10% of that for me in the hard work that I've got to put in to make that leap happen, then my price is going to be my hard costs, which might be traffic to drive to the place. Let's say I'm doing some consulting, and then I'll take a percentage of the revenue, and this will be the value. So now I'm sure you understand this, but potential customers don't always get this. This is why they try and batter us and beat us down on price, because they don't understand the value. The cost element of this is pretty easy to understand. It's quite tangible. For example, if I was to make this cup, the cost might be £1, because that's what I need in raw materials from whatever cups are made out of. But there's a gap between high-performing sales reps and those that don't have huge success when it comes to communicating this element of it. This is the value. Poor performing salespeople instantly start to offer discounts because they don't understand where this, which is a percentage of revenue, this value comes from in the overall price. Don't do this. So when low performing sales reps are just giving discounts, they're making concessions, they're doing anything they can to get the deal done because the prospect is complaining about the price, high performers do what I did in my example and calculate value here as a percentage of the revenue that's being generated. So if you tell a prospect that I'm going to increase your revenue by $10 million this quarter for just $100,000 as a percentage of revenue and 50 grand in hard costs, so my price is $150,000, they would jump at the chance to work with you. It'd be a no-brainer for them. The profit margin on that deal alone is going to secure them their bonuses and make everyone happy with them in their organization. So you need to pitch your price as it relates to costs and value, or a percentage of revenue. And when you start doing this, you're never going to have anyone complain about price ever again. So there we have it. There are the 5 traits of the world's highest performing sales professionals. And if you'd like to test yourself to see if you have some of these traits, just head over to salescodeassessment.com, where you can take a completely free 7-minute sales trait assessment. This 7-minute assessment will show you exactly what high performer traits you have and then the ones that you don't have. For the traits that you don't have, you now know what you need to do to improve your game. And with that, Sales Nation, I'll see you in tomorrow's video.